Hello and welcome back to the Marketing Chatroom, where we chat about the good, the bad, and everything in between in marketing. I am here today with Michelle Tilton, VP of Marketing for Maverick Networks.
Hi, hello, and thank you for having me.
Thanks for joining. So we will get started, if you don't mind, with just a quick intro on yourself and your story and background.
Okay, perfect. So how I got to be VP of Marketing at Maverick Networks. Well, I actually graduated from Sac State in 2022, so that was just a short 2 years ago, and I started out as an intern at a local marketing company called Steps Marketing. What's interesting about that position is when I started as an intern, they didn't have an internship program. They didn't have it posted anywhere, but my dad knew the owner and he had posted something on Facebook like he was looking for a Canva designer, and I dabbled in Canva, so of course my dad, being my dad, is like, you should check this out. And I ended up emailing him, and it wasn't a good fit because I was like brand new in Canva and he wanted someone that was a professional designer. But I followed up with him and I said, okay, well, this position might not be a good fit. What about interning at your company? Because I didn't have any like explicit marketing experience. And I know when you get out of college, it's like, okay, I have this degree, but what else do I have to show? And everyone wants you to have 10 years experience the second that you graduate. So he said, he'd get back to me about it. He talked to the other owner, get back to me. And when he didn't get back to me in a quickly enough amount of time that I deemed, I emailed him again and I said, hey, just wanted to check back. And he ended up giving me the intern position. And then after about 6 months or so, I was coming up on my last semester at Sac State, and I asked him if they were going to keep me on after I graduated, and he said they were. And so he wrote me an offer letter, and I accepted it, and I did a year there as a social media specialist. And then after a year, I wanted my title changed because I felt like social media specialist was so, just like niche, and it didn't kind of explain all of my duties or all the things I could do. So they changed it to digital marketing specialist, and then I worked there for maybe almost another year. And then my current employer actually reached out to me on LinkedIn, and he saw my profile. I was now in grad school, and he saw my profile, and the thing he actually brought up was my GPA, because I had like a 3.8 something at Sac State, and I have like a 4.0 at the grad school I'm going to, University of Florida. And he said, you seem like an overachiever. And he's like, so right. He's like such a perfectionist and like such an overachiever. Well, I'm an overachiever because I'm a perfectionist, but and it's just interesting because, a position like that, you'd think you'd have to work like a really long time in the field. You'd have to have like tons and tons of experience, but he just like saw my profile and he met with me. We met twice, and just like saw something in me that was like, she can do it. And it's crazy because I even telling my friends and people that know me, I'm like, what's crazy is like, I know I can do it, but it's interesting to me that like he met me and also knew that I could do it. You know what I mean? So that says something about him as well, as far as how he can read people. But it's going really well. I love it. It's a great position. I just do all the marketing. It's just me. But I really love it. I love the people that work there, and I love the new things I'm learning and the new different kind of marketing tactics I'm employing. It's really been a fun time.
That's awesome. Very cool. Congratulations.
Thank you.
On getting there.
And I remember when you were sending me, remember when I was like looking for a new job for a little bit, and you were sending me, you kept, she's amazing, by the way. I'm not even kidding. At one point I was looking for a new job, and and most people will be like, oh yeah, I'll send you, like, regular, I had to tell her to stop, okay? She's like regularly sending me job postings on LinkedIn.
She's like, I got a job, okay?
I'm like, I'm okay.
Leave me alone. That's awesome. Yeah. Very cool. Well, that speaks to the power of LinkedIn.
Yeah.
I would say I got my job the same way. I didn't actually realize
really?
We had a really similar story there. Yeah, I started in marketing in, 2021 or 2022 as well.
Okay.
Yeah, and I used to be a teacher, so I had a former career.
I didn't even
and
know
then
this about
came
you.
into
Wait,
marketing.
what?
Yeah.
I have so many questions. Okay, go on.
I know. Yeah, came into marketing, worked for a different agency for almost 2 years, and then came over here to Two Trees. and then was here for, I don't know, 4 or 5 months before I got my title changed to Director of Sales. So similar kind of trajectory there as far as
crazy.
like I got my job through LinkedIn. My boss also found me on LinkedIn.
Okay.
So people use LinkedIn.
Yeah, beef up your profile. It matters, I promise you. And people are like, don't put your GPA on there. And I'm like, I'm proud of my GPA. I'm actually going to include that, and it ended up helping me. So
yeah. Very cool.
I know, that is awesome. I did not know that. You were a teacher? What did you teach?
Yeah, I taught elementary school.
Okay.
For 9 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I love that.
fact.
Yeah, we need more teachers. I'm sure you were an amazing teacher. I'm sure your kids loved you.
It was a time, a good time, a bad time.
Yeah.
Everything in between. Awesome. We'll move into hot seat. So I'm just going to ask you 2 questions that I ask all of my guests.
Okay.
And they're usually pretty fun answers. So first question, what is one of your top favorite marketing moments? And this can be anything in history, your favorite campaign, your favorite commercial, or just something that stands out in your mind as good marketing.
Okay. I actually have one. So I can't remember the name of the company, though. I want to say it's a French company. And they did, and I played soccer growing up. So that's maybe why I really loved this campaign as well. But it was, how it opened up was, it's basically saying like women can do anything men can do, which I love any concept that is like women are amazing and they can do anything men can do. Like the Dream Crazier from Nike, love those as well. Uh-huh. But this one showed all these like different plays going on the soccer field, right? All these like amazing plays. And they're all men, right? They're all men doing these amazing plays. And you're like, wow, they're so good. Da, da. And then what you realize is they've used AI, deep fakes, and it's women. It's actually women. So they're just like saying like women deserve the same kind of, recognition as the men do. Like they can do anything the men can do. And I just loved that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And then next question, if you could join the marketing team for any brand in the world, which brand would it be and why?
That's a really interesting question. So I really would love to do something with like some kind of like humanitarian or someone that like benefited the community. And I think I'd find a lot of purpose in that, right? But I also would really love I'm like fascinated by movies in the sense of like, I will watch them and be like, how did they make that? Like, how did they do that? And I almost want to doing the marketing for, some sort of like studio or something, but then you get kind of behind the scenes and you can see how it's created from like beginning to end. And I think that would be like a really interesting position, a really interesting job.
Right. Yeah, that would be really cool.
I'm like specific, I don't know if I have a specific brand, but I have a specific idea of the kind of company that I would like to work for.
That'd be super
I could choose anything.
Uh-huh. Yeah, my cousin works on the movie side of marketing at Disney.
Okay.
Madeline, shout out to Madeline. I'll have to bring her on the podcast.
Yes, definitely. Please do. I would love to watch that, yeah.
Yeah, she gets to market all the movies and go to really cool events.
Yeah.
And, she has a cool marketing job.
Yeah, that is a cool marketing job.
All right. Next section is marketing vocab. So I'm just going to throw out some marketing terms, and then whatever comes to mind for either of us, we can have a conversation about that.
This is the teacher in you.
Yep.
This is the teacher in you.
Just see what happens.
Yeah. I'm going to throw out some vocab terms, so you better know the definition of them.
And if you don't, then sorry.
Yeah, you don't get your sticker for the day.
Yeah. Okay. One of the words is context.
I would say context in marketing is really, really important as far as taking in like the context of everything, right? Like the target audience, what's going on in the world, like current events, historical context, especially when I feel like a lot of the times when you're using like memes, I think people just like grab and post like trending memes a lot of the times and they don't realize like what context either that meme was made in for or like who your audience is and how they're going to interpret that. Even especially if you're marketing in different parts of the world, you also have to take in like the cultural significance of like different kinds of language, different kinds of graphics. So it is really important. You can't just market things with like tunnel vision or in a vacuum. Like there's so much else going on in the world, and it's really important to just be mindful of that when you're putting things out there.
Yeah, that's a good point. You don't want to come in blind, especially if there's like a big world event happening and you're just like, buy our products.
Yeah.
Nobody likes that. And then it brought to mind for me, like, platform context too, because like, for example, you're not going to post the same thing, well, you shouldn't post the same thing on LinkedIn that you're posting on TikTok, that you're posting on YouTube. And that's something that I'm kind of working through with my new personal brand through this channel, like how to share different things in different places, and if it's similar content, how to kind of like tweak it so it makes sense for each of the audiences on different platforms. Because I do think a lot of brands, especially in relation to TikTok, because that one is a little bit of a younger skewed audience, will just kind of like throw things out there like, we'll see what happens. And it's like, well, you didn't really think about the context of that platform. Like, people are just scrolling through for like mindless entertainment, and then suddenly you're like, and buy this business-to-business software. Like,
it's like, no.
Nobody cares.
Nobody cares. I think it's so much more about like branding, like getting your brand out there, than it is about like a hard sell too on TikTok. Nobody's going on there for that.
Right. Unless it's TikTok Shop, you can get me on TikTok Shop. You will convert me on
I
TikTok
have done
Shop.
that. I usually try to scroll right past those. Anything that has like an ad, I'm like, no, not today. But they do get me quite a bit.
It's dangerous.
It is.
And they have good deals on there. I got my walking pad on TikTok Shop.
Oh, you did?
It. Yeah. All right. Next word is competition, and I'm curious how this might relate to either your current or previous marketing role as far as like competitors in the market.
Yeah, so I'd say with my old role, like we didn't have a ton of, like we had some competitors, right? Some of those core competitors, and but I think that we had our offering was a lot different than theirs as far as like the capabilities of what the platform could do. I thought it was a lot better, whatever, it doesn't matter. I still think it is, just as far as the capabilities, curated social, plug right there. But today, the company I work for, we have a ton of competitors. And when I was creating, we just rebranded our website, or we revamped it basically. And there's like a healthy mix, right, between looking at your competition to see what they're doing, what they're not doing, where they're missing the mark, whatever, where you can kind of, just like pick up in that market gap, whatever gap that they have going on, basically wherever they're missing the mark, right? But so there's a healthy mix of looking at your competition to see where they're missing the mark and copying or imitating, because I feel like you can get down the rabbit hole of like looking at everyone else's content and then just trying to recreate it. And then it's like, well, it's not unique. You're not doing something that's true to your brand or that really makes you stand out. It's like very reactive, right? Instead of being proactive. So I'd say, yeah, it's good to look, but you really want to differentiate yourself. Like, how are we different than them? How do we stand out? And you can tie this into Nutter Butter, because
yes,
they're very different. Anyways, yeah. So it's just really important, I think. Yeah, look at your competition, but don't start looking so hard you start imitating them and being reactive to whatever they're doing. You want to just stand out and be yourself.
Yeah, I agree. I think we play by similar rules here at Two Trees when we're trying to come up with like space. We're trying to find space in the market for our clients, right? And we do kind of a competitor evaluation, competitive research to see what are other people doing, but not so we can copy it, so that we can find like something that's different or something that stands out. Like, okay, this is what people are already seeing in their feeds if they're in this space. So how do we stand out in this like crowded, noisy marketplace? Not how do we fit in?
Yeah. Well, it's like, why do they want to come to us instead of them? If you're all saying the same thing, it really doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's like the demand is already there. They already need the thing that you're giving them. So like, why would they want to go with you instead of someone else? Well, you're all saying the same thing. Then it's just going to come down to pricing. You know what I mean? It's like, they're not going with you because they like you. They're just like, oh, well, you're the cheaper option, or I met you first, or whatever it is. So yeah.
Next word is storytelling.
Oh, storytelling. I love storytelling. I think storytelling, because people can really, when you use storytelling, people can, first of all, it's engaging. It's not just like, we sell this, and then we sell this, and whatever. Nobody cares, like, honestly. But when they can see themselves, like, using the solution or working with you, or even what the process looks like to work with you, I think you can really hook them in, because everybody loves a story, right? Mm-hmm. And you can do that in so many ways, like using real-world scenarios. You can just say, like, almost like, I do this sometimes in emails, like, imagine, and like kind of give the day in life. But this also goes back to, you really need to understand like your target market.
Yeah.
Because if you're using storytelling, you need to understand like what their day-to-day looks like. You can't say like, imagine you go into the office and that's the beginning of your story, and you're targeting people that like are work from home, right? Or whatever it is. You just really need to understand what their day-to-day life looks like and what their struggles are, what their pain points are, and then you can really use the storytelling to kind of relate to them and engage with them, because they're going, oh yeah, I can't imagine that, right? It's not just like some random, story about someone that they can never see themselves being. It has to really hit home to work, I think.
Yeah, so you're tying like your brand into the person's daily story or the person's life story or work story, whatever it might be. So they're kind of cohabitating, I guess. I saw a post on LinkedIn recently it was a long post and I loved it. It was like one of those kind of hot take posts.
Yeah.
And it was basically like, nobody cares about your brand story.
Yeah.
And it's so true though. Like people are selfish. Like people care about themselves, and how is anything going to impact my life right now, today, especially in like this world of instant gratification. And they do not want to sit there and listen to like, this company was founded in 1972.
Yeah, nobody cares.
Nobody cares.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
Sometimes I do like the individual stories about maybe like the CEO or something, like, because I'm more interested in like how they came to be or how the company came to be. But again, it has to use effective storytelling. Don't just give me like dates and stats. I'm like, okay, whatever, I'm not going to read that. But if you tell me like their life story, their journey, I might get a little more engaged.
And I think it has to come in at the right point in like the marketing journey or the marketing funnel too. Because I'm thinking of a product I purchased recently where the founder had a really personalized story about why she created the company that related to the struggles of the target audience in a really interesting way. So I did like that kind of brand story, but I don't think that was the first experience I had with the brand. I think that was when I was already like, I probably already had the product in my cart and was thinking about it, and then they came in and got me with that.
Well, think about all the things you buy on TikTok. That's all storytelling, right?
Exactly.
That's all storytelling. Yeah, they're all telling me why they bought it, what the reasons, the problems they had, the reasons they bought it, it's the whole thing is storytelling. So
Exactly. Yeah. Why this product is going to change your life. And
they're all going to change your life.
Every time.
Every single time. You can't live without it. That cooling blanket, man. I've seen that cooling blanket 500 times.
All right. I think we're going to jump into, this is my favorite section of the podcast so far. It's called Ad, Pass, or Fail. But today's isn't really an ad. It is an account. And if you haven't seen the Nutter Butter TikTok account yet,
go look.
You take some water or something with you, but go watch a couple of their TikToks because they are
I was going to say, take some mushrooms with you.
Do you even need them though?
No, I think it would enhance the experience.
Yeah.
It might be too much for some people, but like I feel like it would make the experience what they're trying to make the experience.
Yeah, that's true.
Because that's the first thing I thought. The first thing I thought about, because you told me to look at it, and the first thing I thought about, I was like, oh, so we're giving acid to the marketing department now. I was like, excellent. Because you know what? I actually love it though. I'm just like, I'm always fascinated by how things are created. So I'm like, who made this?
I know.
Like, where did they come up with this? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I would love to have been a fly on the wall in that meeting when they were pitching that idea. Like, with you know what I mean? Like, the PowerPoint presentation of just out of this world. Like, I would have given so much to be in that meeting. Like, okay, so this is what and then they just approved it. They were just like, okay, yeah, run with it.
I know. And it's not like just one post
No,
either.
They're all like that.
It's the whole channel.
Yeah, I'm like, how do you, like, what is the ideation process? Like, where are we starting? Like, someone has to be, like, very niche, like, have very niche experience, like, creating videos like that. Mm-hmm. But, like, because I've never seen anything like that.
No, it feels very Gen Z. I don't know who created it.
But someone has a lot of skill. Like, because those are, they're just like that. The way, like, I don't know, they're just, I think they're cool. And a creativity, like, they're just really, really creative. And they're just, I would love to see like the process of how they go through making that, or like how they even come up with the ideas, or if they're just like, you know what I mean? They just sit down, like have a couple mushrooms, a glass of wine, I don't know, smoke some weed, who knows? And then they just go at it and then just like come up with this. I'm just like, where? Like what?
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's cool. I'll give it a pass because I think it's cool, like, A, that they have that amount of freedom in their brand to be able to be like, sure, let's try something new. And social media marketing is a very crowded space, and it's like, okay, you're selling cookies. Like, I think everybody's had a Nutter Butter at some point in their life.
I love Nutter Butters.
They are good.
I do love them.
It's interesting, but I can't fault them for trying something. It's kind of nightmarish, though. I go back and forth because I'm like, do I like it? No. But do I appreciate it? Yes.
But does their target, like, I feel like their target market is not us.
It's true.
It's not us. It's okay, though. I'm okay with that. Like, it's fine, Nutter Butter. Like, it's fine.
They've moved on.
They've moved on from us. They're like, we don't care about you guys anymore. But I feel like their target audience, like, would maybe be, like, my 15-year-old, or, like, who knows?
Yeah,
maybe?
yeah.
Is that it? I don't know. We should call them and ask. But
maybe.
I feel like she would resonate more, because I looked at it and I'm like, impressed by the creativity, but also, like, what is this?
Yeah.
Like, I just, like, what is happening right now? Like, I don't know how I'm supposed to feel about this. And maybe that's the point.
Maybe.
I don't know, but I feel like my daughter would be like, oh, this is cool, or whatever they say for, you know.
Now we'll move on to topics and questions, just regular podcast part.
Okay, perfect.
So, curious, what advice, if you have any, would you give someone looking to kind of move up in marketing the way that you have in your career?
I would say, I think the thing that I practice the most is that I don't just, like, do my job. Like, I don't just, like, write an email because I'm supposed to write an email. I don't just, like, create a graphic because that's, like, what I'm supposed to do. I do it because I want it to succeed, right? Like, everything I put my hands on, like, I want it to work. I want it to convert. Like, I am very invested. I'm also a perfectionist. We're working on that, but that's fine. But I want it to benefit the company, right? I want to see it perform. I'm writing emails. I maybe have like a 5 email campaign or whatever. And if the first or second one, like, they're not getting a lot of opens, they're not getting a lot of clicks, I'm not just going to let the campaign run out. I'm going to go in and I'm going to edit and I'm going to change and I'm going to try new things because I want them to be successful. And I think that's like one thing. And I've worked with other people before, but I think I notice sometimes that people just like are just doing their job to get through the end of the day. And like, I get that too. Like, I totally understand, like, no judgment. But if you want to like advance in your career, I think like just looking at something when you do it and before you turn it in or submit it is like, am I proud of this? Like, that's a good check on what kind of work like you're putting into things. Is like, if you can look at something before you pass it off to your boss or whatever and think and look at it and say, I'm proud of this, then like, yeah, you're putting out good work and that's going to be rewarded. Not all of the time. I get it. Like, you know, I worked at a small company, you know, maybe my like situation or circumstances are different than a lot of people that work at, you know, bigger agencies or for corporations or whatever it is. But I think that just like, yeah, putting out your best work and consistently like re-educating yourself, you know, not just being like kind of stuck in the way of doing things, especially, I mean, if you're like hitting the mark and you're doing great work and you're converting leads and like you're drawing in new lead subscribers, whatever, and like you're doing a great job, ignore me. Thank you. But if you see room for improvement, it's like always be willing to pivot. You know, look up on YouTube how to do whatever it is, right? I use ChatGPT. ChatGPT can be like, if you want to learn about a new topic or something, it can be a great way to get started. Like, you know, going back and forth and asking questions, but just like constantly be learning. Look at reading newsletters, whatever it is. You know, the internet is a great space if you want new information and you think that you could be improving in any area. Just start looking at, you know, just start doing some research and reading stuff or watching videos or whatever it is. So you can, I can't tell you how many times that I've like read a little, even like a snippet of a book, or like watched a video, like a short video on YouTube, and been like, oh, that was really helpful, and implemented that tactic and it worked. And just like a very minute change, right? But had much better results just by tweaking it just like a little bit, just like literally one sentence of an email, and it makes a difference. So I think, yeah, those are my tips.
Yeah, I love that. It sounds like you have a very leadership-centric mindset, which is, not everybody has it, and that's okay. But it's kind of like you said, like some people are just there to do their job, and like they show up and they do an okay or an excellent job at what they've been assigned. But I think there's a huge difference in being a person that has a job at a company versus like being a leader. Even if you're not in a leadership role, I think you can always find ways, like you said, to be proactive and be like looking for new ideas to bring in to support your company or your job or whatever it is you're doing, and make it better and make yourself better and make the outcome better. So I relate to that, and I appreciate that advice. I think it's insightful, and hopefully it will help people.
Is your brain also very busy all the time? I think that's why I'm always thinking. Yes. I'm like laying down in bed, just like trying to sleep, and my brain's like, what would be a really great marketing initiative? I'm like, shut up. Shut up.
I get my best ideas when I'm walking, running, or in the shower.
Yeah.
Which is only unfortunate because it's hard to write them down.
Yeah, I was going to say, where do you write? I know, I'm literally in bed, and I'm like, oh my God, that's a great idea. But I'm like in bed, like my, meditation or sleep music is on. Like my phone's on Do Not Disturb, and I'm like, you're not going to remember that.
My notes app in my phone is so insane because that's usually the first thing I have access to.
That's what I do too.
Yeah. I feel like creative people should just schedule in like whatever it is for you. Like for me, it's walking, running, taking a shower. Like that should just be 8 hours of my day. Like I walk, I run, I take a shower, I do it over again, and then I have all the creativity.
Yes, I feel like that would be amazing. Just do the things that you love, where you feel the most creative, and like get paid for it.
Like sitting at my computer is not when I'm going to have like a breakthrough. When I sit down and block my calendar for 30 minutes, I'm like, okay, let's think of a creative idea.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen.
It's not happening. No, it's not. It's so hard too when you're like, and then it almost becomes like a situation where like you're overthinking it, and you're thinking it and you're overthinking it, and you're like, and then you start to like, me anyways, I'm not going to reflect this on you, anxiety and like stress starts to sink in, and you're like, oh my God, I have no idea. It's like, what do I do? And it's just like, get up and walk away.
Yeah.
That's what I do. When I start to like the spiral, I just get up and walk away.
And then what is the biggest challenge you've had to overcome in your career so far?
I would definitely say imposter syndrome. Oh my God. Imposter syndrome, like, it just, especially like moving up as quickly as I did, right? I'm like, can I do this? Mm-hmm. Like, and it's like, I know I can, but at the same time, I'll be like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
Like, wait, can I do this? What am I doing? And like, one thing, I'm really good at like figuring stuff out. So like, again, the perfectionist, like, I mean, it's like a, pro and a con, right? Uh-huh. Where it's like a con because I can cause myself a lot of like stress and anxiety because it needs to be perfect. But then at the same time, like, I have like an impending doom fear of failure. So like, God forbid I fail at anything, right? Like, can't happen. Couldn't be me. Yeah. Mind you, I do fail at things. But I'm just saying, like, you would think like the world was going to come to an end. We're working on that. But so I definitely think that, like, yeah, I'm really good at figuring things out, but I do have that like creeping self-doubt, right? Of like, can I really do this? Like, do I even know what I'm talking about? And then I'll like talk about it, and I'm like, oh, okay, you actually didn't know what you're talking. It's so funny. I remember I had this meeting, and this was when I was still working at Steps, curated, whatever. And I was like trying to pick up a freelance job, or doing social media marketing for this salon suites or something. And I got the lead from someone I knew, and I was gonna have a video meeting with them, and they were like a little bit older, so maybe they didn't understand like the ROI of social media, or like why you need social media marketing, whatever. So I was going to have to explain to them why you need social media marketing like for your business. My job is social media like specialist, okay? My whole job centers around doing social media marketing for business or individuals. It's real estate, but it's their business, whatever. And I kid you not, like, probably like 30 minutes before the meeting, I'm Googling, okay, why do business need social media marketing? Like, I don't know. Like, I'm not even kidding. And I'm like, wait, what? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I had that internal panic of just like, oh my God, what? And it's so funny. And then, of course, like, the meeting went great. They ended up not using me, but that's fine. But I was able to clearly, like, explain to them why you need it. But it's just, like, so funny. It's like this is my biggest, you know, like, struggle sometimes, is just, like, believing in myself and knowing that I can do it without, like, having that, you know, just imposter syndrome creep up, right? And make you feel like you don't know what you're doing when really you do.
Yeah, imposter syndrome is so real. I've experienced that, because my marketing career has been short as well. Like, I'm only not even 3 years in, and then I'm like, I'm hosting a podcast about marketing. What if I don't know anything about marketing? Like, this is what I do with my life.
What if a vocab word comes up and I don't know what it means?
I don't know. Do I know how to host a podcast? I mean, I'm doing it, so yeah. It's crazy, and I kind of sometimes wish I relate to you on the anxiety pieces for sure, but I sometimes wish that I was like one of those delusional people that just thinks they're good at everything and is like super overly confident, and then you're like, do they actually know what they're talking about? And then there's us who, like, we know what we're talking about, but we're like, I don't know.
No, I wish I was one of you know what the funny thing is like, I know I am genuinely good at most things, but I still, like, I have that. But there is still, like, that subconscious part of me that is like, are you sure?
Yeah.
And I'm like, yes. No, I know what I'm doing. Are you sure? And I'm like, stop it. It's fine.
And curious how you use AI in your marketing strategy and your day-to-day marketing life.
Yeah, so I mean, in my day-to-day life, I honestly like love ChatGPT because it just can teach you about like things. Like, I am a very naturally curious person, so I will be like, what's the Fibonacci sequence? Like, me and my friends were talking about that. And like, we started going down this like rabbit hole about the Fibonacci sequence and how it shows up in nature. And like, I'm not even kidding, like the most random things. And you can just go back and forth and like learn new things. But in my like day-to-day role, I use it a lot for like ideas. You know, if I'm like struggling to come up with, you know, just to give me somewhere to go. I do have it help me like rewrite emails or give me like a starting point for social media posts, but I try to be careful because you can't just like you can't just be like, write me a post about this and like it's going to give you a post that's going to be super on brand in your, you know, like your tone and your style and all these things. So I find that like the best way to use it is to give it as much information as you possibly can, right? About your brand, your tone, your style, you know, your target market, all these things. And you can really use it to generate ideas or like get you going in a process if you're kind of stuck. It's also really helpful if whatever tools you're using, I found this out, like if you're using Salesforce or HubSpot or whatever, integration tools, it knows a lot. Like, I've been in situations where I'm like, okay, how do I do this? Like, how do I integrate this with this? Or how do I set up this workflow or whatever? And I'll ask and it'll know.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
Surprising. I've been using it for learning how to use CapCut for this purpose. Yeah. And it just knows everything.
I know. I'm like, how do I do this? And it's like, and I'm like, oh, okay. And like super detailed, right? Like description. I'm like, that's amazing.
It is amazing.
Yeah.
For our last question, a trend in marketing you think might be overhyped or a common mistake that you see people making in marketing?
Well, like some fun mistakes. Some like funny mistakes that, you know, and I honestly, like, I don't go on social media that much anymore. I just like, I don't have Instagram. TikTok sometimes will be on my phone. It just depends on the mood. But putting links in the captions is always a funny one to me. Just little things like that. But I think like, you know, just like the little tiny mistakes that people make when posting things, that like not understanding the platform or the audience or whatever it is. But overall, like a trend I think is really overhyped is going viral. I think it's so overhyped. Like, everyone's like, I want to go, you know, companies to their marketing team or whatever, we want to go viral, we want to go viral. And it's like, first of all, that's like a unicorn, right? Yeah. Like, people think that it happens all the time because when you're scrolling like your For You page or whatever you're scrolling, you're seeing viral videos. Well, of course you are, because they're viral. And that's how the algorithm works. It shows it to your people. It shows it to your friends, a small group of your friends. If they like it, it shows it to a large group of your friends. If they like it, it shows it to a larger group and then other people. And then and on and on and on and on and on, right? And so that's why you're seeing it. But the more important thing is not going viral. It's like, because I think what gets lost is that people are like, I want to try to go viral, so they jump on all these trends that don't maybe fit their brand or their audience, and that's not going to help you convert anybody. Might get you a couple extra likes, but what's more important is creating content centered around like your target audience's pain points and like how you can alleviate those, right? Because mind you might only have a post that 30 people saw and 3 people liked, but one of those 3 people is going to do business with you. And what's more important, that or getting 50,000 likes of people who don't even know who your company is and can never use your services? And then the problem is if you get people following you for those viral things that aren't attached to your product or your solution, then your engagement is going to drop because you have all these people that don't actually care about what you're selling. Oh,
exactly.
Another one I hate too is the Gen Z intern. When everyone says the Gen Z intern posted it, that drives me nuts. It drives me nuts.
Because you know that when they say that, like it went through so many levels of approvals before it actually got posted, and then like the trend is already over. Like the trend happened a month ago, and now you're like, oh look, our Gen Z intern took over our social media for the day. It's like, no, they didn't.
It's probably like someone with a degree that like has worked in marketing for years and like had to get that post through 10 layers of people, and you're giving, oh my God, if I worked there, I'd be so annoyed. I'd be like, the Gen Z intern is me.
Yeah, we were going to do, we never do the trendy videos because we're always too late. Like last week we were going to do the like in the club one. And now it's too late. Like it's been a week, and we can't.
Oh, in the club?
Oh
my God! I tried to say that to someone.
Now it's too late.
Yeah, I tried to say it to Gen Z the other day, and I just made myself look dumb.
Isn't that like the whole point of the?
Well, they didn't know what I meant, and I was like, "Wait, I'm being hip. Can you just get on board?"
I saw this on TikTok. Okay?
Yeah, I saw. Aren't you? Don't you live on there? Like, what? How do I know this one? And you? I was blown away by that.
That's awesome. Yeah, but I agree. It's all about being relevant and like authentic to not only your brand, but relevant to your audience and authentic to who your brand is. Like if your brand isn't like a super trendy, like we kind of can get away with it at Two Trees. Like we're all pretty young.
Yeah.
We work in digital marketing. Like we can do a trend if it's relevant and if we do it quick enough. But like for something like your job, like if you guys are going to be doing like TikTok trends, it's never.
That will never happen.
It's never going to convert.
That is never going to happen. We're on LinkedIn, okay?
Uh-huh.
You want to find us? Go on LinkedIn or Facebook. How about your biggest marketing fail?
Ooh. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, let's do that real quick.
Let me think. I'm a perfectionist, so this is going to be hard for me. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. I have that problem too. Like people are like, what's the most embarrassing moment you've ever had in your life? And I'm like, I don't know.
I'm like, I have no
idea. Or like,
idea.
What's your favorite color? I'm like, I don't, there's too many colors.
Oh my God, me too. I'm like, just like that. Why do you have to ask me? What's your favorite movie? I don't know.
I've never seen a movie. I can't
What's
think
your
of a movie.
favorite book? I'm like, a lot of books.
Yeah.
Can we go author? Like right now at this moment, the book I'm reading, like don't pin me into a corner.
Stressful.
It is stressful.
Let me ask ChatGPT. I don't know what my favorite book is.
No, actually. And then I'm like, the color one gets me every time.
Then you feel like it has to be bad and like the worst.
Yeah. I mean typos galore.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Typos galore. And why do you I swear to I never see the typo, and I have so much anxiety now. So like I never see the typo until after I post it.
So I make a lot of pitch decks to like present proposals to our clients.
Yeah.
And every time there's a typo, and I've never once found the typo before the presentation. Like I'll read the deck 100 times. Yeah. I'll send the deck to a bunch of coworkers, be like, how does this look? Everyone's like, it's great. I pull it up the second I pull it up on the screen, I'm like, typo.
Yeah. And that's the only thing you can see. It's the only thing you can see. Or after you send an email out to like thousands of people, you realize like there's a typo or something, some link doesn't work, or oh my God, that's like my worst nightmare. And now it's just because I work by myself, I don't have anybody else checking it.
We had a wine client at one point that was having an event. It was like for like bring your dog and come drink wine with us, that kind of event. And so we created an ad where it was like a cute little dog and a bunch of grapes, like in a vineyard.
Yeah.
And the dog had its mouth like on the grapes, like it was picking the grapes.
No.
Like, oh, how cute. People freaked out because they were like,
because grapes are poisonous.
Yeah, they're like, that dog is gonna die, and it's your fault.
Because did it look like legit real? Like,
yeah, it was like a real dog. I mean, it was probably not a real photo, but it was like a real cute little dog, and like it was picking the grapes. Okay, it was just harvesting them. It wasn't gonna eat them, but people were not happy. People were like, grapes are toxic to dogs.
No, and you know what is the funniest thing is like nobody will engage with your post.
Yeah,
like I'm telling you right now, like you post 500 posts and nobody says shit, okay?
Nothing.
But if you post one post with a freaking typo, you're gonna have 10 people in your comments correcting you. Or if you post, anything like that, like
Yeah.
Those people who have never said one word, not liked a post, not nothing, right? Ever in their life, they're on it right now. Oh my God.
After you.
I'm like, thanks for the engagement.
I guess that's how you go viral. Just people do that now.
It's like the
make
rage bait or something.
Yeah,
is that what it's called?
Exactly.
Like there's I saw a couple trends like that on TikTok where they were just like, they would do stuff that would make people so angry, but then it just blew up their account.
It's funny. Bobby comes to mind. Do you know Bobby Altoff? She is a big podcaster now. And I'm proud because I followed her since like the very beginning.
Yeah.
We used to like chat on Instagram before she was super famous.
Yeah.
But she she has 2 daughters and she called them Richard and Concrete.
Oh yes,
they're not their real names,
yeah.
but like people were so mad that she named her daughter Concrete. I think that's like a big part of why she blew up.
Oh really? Yeah. But it's like obviously she should name her daughter Concrete. She just doesn't want to give you her daughter's name. Like, and it's funny how much like it just goes over people's heads. Or like you can tell they're new to like an account, and they're so mad.
Those keyboard warriors.
Yes, they're just they're full time.
Yeah,
they're dedicated.
they never sleep.
No.
Crazy. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. Where can people find you? On LinkedIn?
Yes.
Awesome.
On LinkedIn. Yes, definitely on LinkedIn.
We'll link your LinkedIn, and
at some point I'll have I have an Instagram, but it's vacant at the moment.
We're gonna bring it back to life. Awesome. Well, thank you all for tuning in today. Gotta go. TTYL. That's my sign off now.
Okay, I love it.
I don't know if it's gonna stick because it's very cheesy, but
we love cheesy.